Webinars now broadcasting. We're going to have everyone join in that was sitting in any waiting area. Slowly but surely they start trickling all in.
Yeah, this bit's always the funny bit. You can just see the numbers just tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, like who got in first,
Absolutely. Yeah, they get a prize. Or maybe they don't.
I wish. But hey.
Oh, that's it.
So we're going to give it a minute or so for everyone to jump on in. And I have Tom Port with AutoEntry with me today. He's going to be showing us the app. Yeah, let's give us a little bit more. And if you guys have any questions during the presentation, I will help Tom with the Q&A, fielding questions and asking him and butting in and all that sort of stuff during that time. So feel free to put that in there. I'll be looking at the Q&A. And I don't know what else. So,
I think
hey
that's
guys,
it.
Officially, I'm Kathy Iconis with QBO Chat, and I am here to help you build your best bookkeeping practice. So today, one of the things that I like to do are these app demos and really dive in deep into the apps, understand how they work, understand how they can help us and our clients work better. And so I know people rave about AutoEntry. I have not been shy about that in my emails because I know I hear it. They love it for cleanup projects and a whole bunch of other things. And so we have Tom with us today to show us the app, the awesomeness. And like I said, I will be looking at the questions panel, trying to manage all of that. And Tom will be taking care of everything else.
Fantastic.
So, on to you.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Yeah, so I'm Tom Port, VP of Sales in North America for AutoEntry. And just as Kathy said, yeah, so I'm here to razzle and dazzle you and automate your data entry. So that is the stated aim of what we're going to do today. So I'm going to now share my screen with you guys.
And I'm going to turn off my video to help with bandwidth on things.
And if you actually, Kathy said host disabled participant screen sharing. So if you don't mind allowing me to share, that would be wonderful.
Or make host. I guess I can annul that by change host.
Excellent. So I think now we should be rocking and rolling. Here we go.
There we go.
Excellent, excellent. Fantastic. And as we can see, my camera has decided to freeze, so we will deal with that later. But so, as I said, I'm Tom Port. And what I want to really take you through in all seriousness today is take you through the variety of functionality that AutoEntry has to offer. I think there can be sometimes a slight misconception about AutoEntry that really we do one thing, and that is take bills or take a particular data segment type. And what I'm here to do principally today is to show you that AutoEntry as a solution can offer a lot of value to you and perhaps, open your mind up to other areas. So just to start, what I wanted to do is kind of set the scene and talk about automation more broadly. I want to start with, just going over why is automation important. And I didn't want to give you kind of arbitrary reasons as to why automation is important for the world and in general. We all know what's happening out there with, Uber's changing the way we travel, Amazon's changing the way we go to shops. Automation is permeating every aspect of daily life. What I wanted to do is just set the scene a little bit and contextualize this for accounting professionals, bookkeepers, accountants, those just working in the accounting industry. And when I was researching for this, I found two quick studies that I found I thought were worth sharing today to give you an understanding of the landscape. The first one I found was a practice of now study that was done by Sage. And that came out and said that 66% of people in the accounting professional are investing in artificial intelligence within the next 3 years. And the second thing that I found that was interesting is that the Journal Accountancy reported that 80% of people in accounting believe that artificial intelligence leads to a competitive advantage and increases productivity. Now, the reason I'm sharing that with you all is because I think it's all worth us really being aware that when it comes to investing in automation, when it comes to the importance of it, the reason I see it for the individual accounting companies is that if you're not doing it, other people in the industry are, and they're getting those efficiencies out there. So it's worth you looking at adopting as well. And again, I love this quote, and I use it in so many presentations, so I'm a bit of a broken record about it, but I think it's really true. What I see in business is so much of the time, being self-aware of where you are is so important. And I can never find the person to attribute this quote to, but the first step in solving a problem is admitting that you have one. So again, if you're not looking at automation technology at the moment, now is absolutely with this new normal. We've hopefully got a bit more time in our hands to sort of see what we can adopt, so we can ensure that our practices are those practices of the future.
I love your someone clever.
I know. I can never
Awesome.
find out who said that, but I would assume he was a pretty smart chap.
Or woman.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Smart chapette, if you will.
There you go.
But where does AutoEntry come into this? What do we do? So I know some of you probably have heard about AutoEntry on the call, on the webinar before, but what we do is we're a mobile and web app for accountants, bookkeepers, and business owners. What we do, and our principal values that we have as a company, is we want to help accounting professionals become more productive, more profitable by accurately automating bookkeeping data entry from any type of paper directly into QuickBooks Online. And that's our stated aim and ambition of what we want to do. And just quickly to give you a bit of understanding about us as a company. Well, we started eight or 9 years ago now, so we've been doing this for quite a while. So we'd like to think over those 8 or 9 years that we've learned a thing or two about data automation. But we started in Dublin. We're an Irish company. Soon after launching in Dublin, we moved over to, as you probably have guessed, where I'm from, the United Kingdom in London, and led a pretty significant developing the business out in the UK and Ireland, to where really now we are a household name when it comes to cloud accounting in that part of the world where AutoEntry is absolutely a household name. 2016-17, we came down to this wonderful country, Australia, and started again spearheading the data capture, data automation efforts there. And then in February 2018, it was myself, I actually moved over to Arizona, which I can assure you all was a bit of a culture shock coming from UK to essentially the desert in many cases. But we've been launching the US business effort since 2018, and now we're servicing thousands of US accountants and bookkeepers and small businesses. And through that, we now have 4,500 accounts and bookkeepers set up on the platform, and we service well over 100,000 companies on AutoEntry worldwide, and we're adding hundreds of companies each day. So we've really enjoyed the journey and really enjoyed helping accounting professionals over the last 8 or 9 years. Now set the scene a little bit. I'm going to stop talking about this, and I'm going to move on to the more interesting part. So hopefully you all now should be able to see see AutoEntry in front of you. So AutoEntry, the starting point to using AutoEntry. Mr. Client has brought in what I like to call the bag of rubbish. So that data can be from invoices, bills, receipts, bank statements, credit card statements, really any type of data that's being brought in.
So Tom, I'm
Yes.
not sure which screen you're trying to share, but I see the
I
auto
can.
entry like web page.
Oh gosh, and I'll tell you what's just happened. My
It's gonna hate you.
it is going to hate me. Give me. I'm very sorry, guys. Do you know what I'm going to have to do, Kathy? Yeah.
You're gonna have to restart.
I am going to have to restart. So what I'm going to
That's
do,
fine.
everyone, is I'm going to leave you with cat. We're going to put on a little jingle for 10 minutes, like you're on hold music. Yeah.
Yep,
I'm going to be 2 minutes. I'm just going to restart and I'm going to rejoin. Okay. So just give me a
that's
minute.
fine.
Okay. Thank you
Okay.
very much, guys.
Hey guys, so yeah, Tom had warned me beforehand that this is possible to happen because his computer has been mean recently. It's just acting out and it needs to have a quick timeout and we'll be back with us. So feel free, you guys, to ask any questions or anything that is going on in the world. I don't know. You have me for a couple minutes while Tom figures this all out and restarts and stuff. So I hope everything works out. Moving over. Nice to meet you. Found you on Facebook. Great. So excited. So yes, if you guys have not become a member of the Build Your Best Bookkeeping Practice Facebook group, please go ahead and do so. We have a lot of great information in there. And then also on the website, QBO Chat, I have great training and other resources available to you for all of that. So like I said, yeah, I love doing these app demos because I know so many people want to know the technology out there, but are feel like they don't have enough time to figure it out or to know what's going on. And instead of just some webinar that kind of generically talks about what they do, or they're promoting something else that's going on in the world, I want to get like into the technical. Like I want to see how that app works, how it like connects with QBO or what other system it is, and really see what happens and understand the benefits and all that sort of stuff. So can you use this to work with QB to just make adjustments to clients' QBs? To make adjustments. So I think the app is more about getting information into QBO, but you're going to see it does it from all different levels. It's not just expenses. It's not just receipts. It's so much more than that. Do you have app recommendations for integration? And you guys use the Q&A panel. You're screwing with me. You're getting the other. I'm looking at the chat. Okay. Do you have any app recommendations for integration for Squarespace or Etsy? It's fun getting to see it working. Thank you for hosting these. Yes. Let's see. We'll ask Tom about that on looking with Squarespace and Etsy. I wonder, I mean, at the very least, you're probably going to be able to export something and get it into AutoEntry, but we want something more automatic, right? We want something that is more consistent on getting that information over there. So, and I think they do have an integration with Zapier, which I tend to use a lot in life of things. So I am going to explore. I could be totally wrong on this one. Let's see. Nothing's showing up. Okay, so maybe not. You might have to do an so the handwritten receipts, and this is I'm going off of demos that I have seen from them over the years. It might have technology is always changing on things, but can it handle handwritten receipts? It's usually as good as we would be able to read the handwriting on what the technology can pick up on. So we'll see if Tom repeats my answer, if I was right or not, once he gets back in.
Okay, guys, there we
Hey,
go. I am ever so sorry for this. I'm
no
ever
problem.
for that, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed that brief interlude and now are anticipating the demo.
Yes, yes. We already have gotten some questions. Are you able to share your screen yet or no?
Absolutely. Give me
I'm like, what
one
do I need
second.
to do?
1 second. I will be.
We'll just pretend Tom's not on for a second. I'll answer this one. Who are alternatives competitors to AutoEntry? Maybe Transaction Pro. So here's the thing about all of these different other apps is they all solve just a tad bit different areas. So you really want to look at it and see what your needs are to find the best fit with it. Transaction Pro will help you get like a whole bunch of data into QBO from an Excel spreadsheet or something, but AutoEntry will get you a whole bunch of information into QBO, but a completely different way.
Yes.
And
I'm ready to share whenever I can be made host, Kathy, as well, if you don't mind.
I'm like, oh, okay. Ask to start video. I'm gonna do make co-host this time. I'm like, I don't know what that. Playing around with things.
There we go. Okay, so how about this, everyone? Can you see AutoEntry in front of you?
I can see your browser. Yes.
Yes, fantastic. Okay.
Is that what we're going for?
That's what we're going to start with. That's what we're going to start with. So everyone, forgive that brief interlude, but so we'll crack on now. But yeah, as I was saying, AutoEntry all begins with getting data into the from your client into the practice. Yeah. So whether that data, and this is one of the main things I want to highlight for you, is whether that data is bills, invoices, receipts, bank statements, credit card statements, really anything your client brings you, AutoEntry is going to be able to automate. So we're going to take that data, we're just going to scan it through our standard Office scanner. We're going to either, if you are engaging your clients, you have the ability for those clients who are wanting to work more remotely, particularly in a time like this, you can get them to download the AutoEntry app, and as they're going about their day job, they just snap a photo of their bills or their receipts or whatever using the AutoEntry app. Or alternatively, what they're going to do is just email the data straight into AutoEntry. Again, if those clients are working remotely, don't want to come in and see you and give you the physical cardboard box of rubbish, if you will, they'll just be able to email that data straight through. So what's going to happen next is you're going to come to autoentry.com and you're going to see a screen very, very similar to this, and just going to hit login. And what login is going to do is going to take you straight through to what we call the company dashboard. So on the company dashboard, we have, it just highlights a few areas so you can see at a glance, what's happening within your account. And that is your company name. So you've got your company name to the left-hand side. You've got your integration status, i.e. what software package you're integrated with. And then we have an overview of the data that we have captured. Now, just a question that I saw, Kathy, actually, when I was logging back in. I think someone popped up, can't remember the person's name, but asking the question, does AutoEntry work with QBO and QuickBooks Desktop? And the answer is yes, absolutely. AutoEntry has direct integration with QuickBooks Online, as you can imagine, but we also have built out a direct SDK integration with QuickBooks Desktop as well. So any desktop users out there, we still want to chat to you.
What other packages do you guys work with even more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're here to talk about QBO today, but how I like to say it, we are friends with everybody. Yeah. We have integrations with Xero. We of course have integrations with Sage Accounting, Sage 50 being a Sage company now, and then just a myriad of other different solutions. But principally in the US, that's the three main integrations that we see supported.
Perfect.
So what I'm going to do now is let's actually talk about some interesting stuff, the geeky functionality bit that I like talking about. So I'm just going to click on this company name here, Ace Custom Masonry. And as we can see, that directly takes me through to the folder screen. And again, just to highlight this for you, we've got the different types of data that we capture. And the reason, I was covering the bills and the vendor statements, the sales invoices, bank statements, expense reports. The reason I mentioned that at the start is I think that's can be a bit of a misconception about AutoEntry in as far as anything that comes in that you're receiving from your clients, it's not just one document source that we look after. We look after a myriad of different. So we like to consider ourselves to be the Swiss Army knife of data capture.
Yes. And I like the, I mean, I don't know how many other apps do the revenue and expense side of things.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the fact that you have that is a big selling point.
Yeah, I don't know either. And I can understand why they don't in many cases, because it is a bit more edge case. You know, you should have your, you should be raising your sales invoices ideally in QuickBooks Online or QuickBooks Desktop or your other accounting software. But sometimes people don't. Sometimes people have a third-party billing system that they raise their sales invoices in. So, and if that's the case for your clients, you know, we can fix that problem for you. However, let's talk about bills first. Yeah. So the workflow for bills is quite simple, and it's the one that's most widely used by our clients. So we've spoken about getting the data into AutoEntry. So we're either going to scan it and upload it, take a photo, however we want to, or however you've got engaged with your client and get the data in. What's going to happen once you've done that upload is AutoEntry is just going to extract all of that transactional data for you. So what that's going to look like is it's going to look like this. So you've uploaded the data and AutoEntry has just come in and extracted things like your date, your vendor name, your currency, your net, your total of the bill, whether the document was paid or not. And you can, of course, assign it to location class within QuickBooks Online as well. So what's also happened though is this information has been extracted off the software. So that's just been straight read. What also has happened there is we can see this data has been coded. So we've coded to the correct vendor account and correct category. Now on that, where a lot of people ask, where does this categorization come from? Well, when we set up the direct integration with your QuickBooks Online account or QuickBooks Desktop, all of those vendor accounts and categories are automatically pulled in. However, when you're using an AutoEntry for the first time, it might not be coded. There may be certain areas that are just left blank. So it'll look a little bit more like, let's just say, look a bit more like this, just a blank box essentially. And if that was the case, all it's asking you to do is merely code it once, and that's going to create a rule within AutoEntry. So the next time that you see a document from one of these providers, as long as you've coded it once, it's going to remember and you don't have to do it again. So at this stage, what happens? Well, what most people want to do now is just review this data and let's get it into QBO as quickly as possible. How they do that is to review the data first off. They're going to want to click on the AutoEntry eye. On the AutoEntry eye here, you're going to see a split screen view. Left-hand side is our data. Right-hand side is going to be the original copy of our bill. And as we can see, all of this information on the left-hand side has been extracted. So I'll just go through this very quickly just to highlight it for you. So we've captured what we like to call the standard information. Yeah, that's just been automatically captured. So what I call standard information is things like the vendor name, the vendor account, the category, dates, description, net, total, whether the document was paid or not. I kind of call that standard information because a lot of people in the industry do that and offer that as a solution. Again, where AutoEntry tends to stand out from the crowd is the level of granularity that we go into. So we've got our purchase orders. So we can do PO matching with QuickBooks Online or other accounting softwares. So if there's a purchase order raised in your QuickBooks Online account, AutoEntry can match against that. As I mentioned before, location and class. But we've also got the billable customer feature, which is awesome for industries like construction or manufacturing, those type of businesses, because you can actually assign this bill directly to a customer, and then at the point of raising their invoice, this bill will be attached to it. And what we've also done is we've captured the individual line items as well. So as you can see, these line items here on the left-hand side have been extracted directly off this document here on the right-hand side. So we've just gone in and extracted all the line items. Again, great for certain industries in particular. We see it with like the restaurant trade, hospitality more broadly, again, manufacturing and construction. Whenever you've got clients that are buying more than one thing from one supplier, this comes in really handy. And furthermore to that, what we also do is on our line items, we can even remember where they're coded. We call it line item rules. Same principle to bank rules within QBO. You set up a rule that says whenever we see a certain line item from a certain supplier, it will automatically be coded for you. So what are we going to do next? Well, once we reviewed it and checked that we're happy with the data that's been captured and coded, what we're going to do is we're going to hit this button here, publish and next. Just hit that button. And what that's going to do, it's going to take this bill and send it directly into our QuickBooks Online account or QuickBooks Desktop or any other provider. Alternatively, when you're a bit more familiar with AutoEntry, what a lot of our users tend to do is instead of publishing it individually, select all on the left-hand side, actions, and then publish. And what that's just going to do is en masse send all of this data directly through into our accounting software. When it gets to our accounting software, what is it going to look like? Well, it's going to look like this. Now, this should be a lot more familiar to all of you than it is to me. But in terms of showing you what data AutoEntry is populated, we're just going to come through to our expenses in QBO. Let's pick up this Lennox one again, because it was what we were using in AutoEntry. And again, as we can see, AutoEntry just created the transaction automatically. So all of this data has directly been sent in through AutoEntry. As you can see, we've got all the individual line items. And then again, we've got on the bottom left-hand corner, we've got the original copy of the document as well, as we can see. So that is the first element of AutoEntry's functionality I want to share with you. Before we go into questions and answers, I'm just going to move through the other elements just to, so I can show you all of the value we add and all of the problems we solve. So the next thing, and Kathy, you actually alluded to this at the beginning, tons of our customers use this for backdated work, as I call it, or write-up work, if you will. Clean-up work is another word, another way I've used to describe it. And it's just for bank statement capture. And the problem is that we see with a lot of accounting professionals, their clients, end of the year, end of a couple of years, maybe it's a new client you're onboarding, they bring you a ton of bank statements. So they bring you 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever that may be, pages of bank statements, and essentially are asking you to get this data into your accounting software in some way, shape, or form. So we want to solve that. We want to stop you doing that manual data entry. So in the case of bank statements, what we're going to do is we're just going to scan those bank statements through our standard office scanner. Once you scan the bank statements through, what AutoEntry is going to do, again, is just extract all of that transactional data off the document. So we're going to go in there and we're going to grab things like the date, the description, debit, credit, the calculated running balance. All of that information is going to be extracted. And what it's going to look like is going to look like this. So as we can see, we've got the account number, we've got the date range, and we've got any notes. So if there are any pages missing off the document, which in my experience happens quite often with clients that bring in cleanup work, AutoEntry is going to flag that up for you. And it's just going to say, hey, the 1st of March to the 27th of March is missing. And you can use that as a conversation starter with your client to go back and say, this data is missing, get it from the client, upload it, and AutoEntry will just slot it into place nicely for you. Now, what I'm going to do now is I actually want to see this data. So I'm going to click on the AutoEntry eye again. And what we're going to see is we're just going to see left-hand side is the data, the right-hand side is the original copy of the bank statement itself. And a question I always get asked at this point is, how many banks do you look after? Yeah. US is obviously quite a big place. And last time I read, I think we have here 3,000 banks and probably the same number of credit unions. And God only knows how many credit card companies there are here, according to my mailbox. But there's a lot, is what I'm getting at. And AutoEntry can capture data from any of them. If it's Wells Fargo, as we can see here, all the way to the Building Society of Western Tennessee. As long as it's coming in paper form or PDF form, and it's a bank statement, AutoEntry is going to be able to capture it.
Yeah, and to clarify on that, you're saying, yeah, if you actually scan in a paper copy, it doesn't have to be the digital actual statement that AutoEntry gets that.
And thanks for clarifying, Kathy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so if your client comes in and it's the client that never keeps their accounts tidy, which are probably a lot of them, and they just bring in the bank statement to you, and it's paper, absolutely we can support that.
That's
So
the joy of the technology behind it, because it can actually, yeah, it sees the template, the format of it, and it can extract the data.
Hey, that's what we're here to do. That's our MO. So, so what do we want to do now? We want to get this data into our accounting software. You know, it's no good just sitting here. Let's get into accounting software. So to get it in, again, it's very simple, and I'm sure all of you have done this before, uploading a CSV or a Web Connect file or you know, whatever. But we have all the different accounting softwares we have files for here. But of course, we're focused on our good friends in green. So to get it into QBO, we've got a choice, a Web Connect file or a CSV format, and the same for QBD as well. Both have different protocols, but thankfully both are quite simple. If we were going to something like QuickBooks Online, we're just going to go back and, just as you would, upload any other bank statement into banking and file upload and follow the typical protocol from there. So everyone, that was bank statements, and that's what I see. You know, to be totally candid, when I'm talking to clients and we're having conversations, that's what we see as our two biggest value drivers. The capturing bills for the clients that don't want to do data entry for their bills anymore. You know, they don't want to enter their bills into QuickBooks Online. They either want you to do it for them, or they want to do it themselves, but they don't want to type data. This is where we really see that. And of course, then for the cleanup work as well, for the bank statements. That's what we see as two big value drivers. But I'm going to share with you some other functionality as well, just so we're all aware of the exact value that we can provide here. So the next one I want to share with you is vendor statements. And I often get asked about vendor statements, as in, what does it mean? You know, what does it actually do? So the problem that we solve with vendor statements is, you've come to, say, the end of the month, and you have a client, and they've bought a myriad of different things from one particular supplier. They have a vendor statement on one side, and what you need to do, what they need to do perhaps, is they want to reconcile that vendor statement they've received against all the individual invoices, all the individual bills they've received from that vendor for the month or for the quarter, whatever time period they're working with. Now, the old way was rifling through bits of paper, pulling them out and ticking it off, you know, pen and paper, which I've never done personally, but I was led to believe was very, very time consuming. And AutoEntry just fixes that problem. So again, the same sort of protocol. We're going to take that vendor statement. We're just going to scan it through our scanner. I'm just going to upload it directly into AutoEntry. Or we're going to email it for those clients, again, that we've got working remotely who want you to do this for them. They can just email it directly into AutoEntry for you. What's going to happen next is AutoEntry, again, it's just going to extract all of that transactional data. So hopefully you're seeing a bit of a pattern here. We're just going to click on the AutoEntry eye. Left-hand side is the data that we have captured off the document when this loads up, and the right-hand side is the original copy of the vendor statement itself. So what we're going to do now is we're going to reconcile this statement, and how we're going to do that is just move forward to the next tab here. So I'm going to remove some of these quickly. Lovely, just for the sake of the demo. And I'm doing this for dramatic effect, if you will, in as far as what I've often asked our clients to do is, if they're doing this themselves and they're having to do this process manually, I often ask them to think about what is going to be more efficient. So again, on this screen here, left-hand side is the statement line items, right-hand side is the original copy of it's going to be the bills that AutoEntry is going to try and find. And how we do the reconciliation is simply just click auto match. And as you can see, AutoEntry has gone through all of the inbox there, and it's been able to find this invoice here has been one that's been matched, and the rest it hasn't been able to find. So again, what you can use this is you can use this as a tool to drive conversations with your client and say, hey, you uploaded the vendor statement, we can only find one bill, where are the rest? Or the client, of course, can do that themselves. If
That's
the
pretty
client,
awesome.
yeah, it's a nifty little tool if you have this problem.
I don't know how many times I've tried to match them up. Like, yeah, I do that manually.
Yeah, absolutely. So do lots of people, because we haven't been shouting this from the rooftops enough, but we're shouting now.
There you go.
But of course, you can try to find a match, so you can go a bit deeper, really. So you can start increasing the amount of days that you wanted to look for. So it will increase the date range either side. You might even want to increase the amount. Say, look, it could be $10 either way. And then you can search and do a deeper search. Alternatively, you can just ignore it and you can say, yep, that has been accounted for in QBO already. Or you might want to say, look, I'm actually going to create it, and AutoEntry will create a placeholder bill for you that you can send through to QBO until such a point as you get the original copy, or maybe just use it permanently. It's up to you.
So I got a question on that. When you say ignore it because it's already in QBO, that makes me think, would it be best to just use this as the initial source for everything so that it would then be able to
100%.
match everything up?
Yeah, and that's something we're really, really hot on. From a customer success effort, we want to make sure from a customer success perspective that any person that becomes an AutoEntry user, really gets a deep understanding of how the product works. And the reason for that is because I'm very much of the opinion that when you adopt new technology, it needs to become standard operating procedure. You can't have in your practice that you're kind of using this for that and kind of doing it manually. I just don't think people get the true benefits of automation through that. So yeah, to your point, Kathy, I'd absolutely recommend, if they're using things like this, make sure you're using it for all documents, for the client for one. And the second thing, through with our assistants, absolutely, let's get to a stage where we can use it for all clients as well. So we have that standard operating procedure within the business.
Yeah, because that's where most of the problems are going to happen, is when people start, using different, saying, okay, every once in a while I'm going to start in QBO, every time I'm going to do this, and it's just not going to make any app work right for you.
Totally. And I think, I could ramble about this all day. I'll save you. I'll save you from my rambling, but I could, because it's a comfort. It's a comfort thing, and it's a confidence thing. And I think that if apps are honest with themselves, in many cases, apps need to do a better job in making sure that once the sale has been made and once they've been on board as a client, that they really start, investing in their customer success to make sure and make them confident using the software, make them comfortable using the software, everyone in the business, because that's really where you see the true benefits of automation.
Absolutely.
So to stop my rambling, I'm going to move on to more functionality. So the next element of functionality I want to cover off is sales invoices. And Kathy, thank you for highlighting that at the start. We see a lot of traction about this online, about our ability to capture the sales invoice side, or the revenue side, as you put it. And again, this was just born out of customer requests. We had a significant amount of customers saying, I have an edge case client that just brings me sales invoices because they're silly and raise their sales invoices in a third-party software, or something to that effect. And again, that's a problem that we wanted to fix. So a lot of this functionality is kind of samey in terms of it's very similar to the bills. So what's going to happen is you can scan and upload if the client has physically brought the data into you. Whereas we alluded to, if you've got your clients working remotely and they can just snap a photo on their phone using the app, or scan the data and email it through to their own unique AutoEntry email address. And again, what's going to happen is all of the information is going to be extracted off the document. So same thing as before, we're just going to go in there, extract all of the transactional data. What it's going to look like is going to look like this. So as we can see, we've got the date, the customer name, the currency, net, tax, total. And this information here from net, tax, and total, just to give you the peace of mind, it has been validated. You know, we've arithmetically validated this information to make sure that it is, make sure that it's correct before the data has been released back to yourselves. The second thing that I wanted to highlight on here is that, of course, you know, the categorization has been done. The only difference that you're going to notice, instead of being a vendor account, it's going to be a customer account. And again, exactly the same functionality as before. If we want to get our data into our accounting software, we can click on the view eye, we're going to see the information that's been extracted, or alternatively, just select all of the items, actions, publish, and exactly the same thing. It's just going to send that data directly into our accounting software for us. So into QBO or into QBD.
When you see the green check mark and it says QuickBooks Online underneath it, what's the difference between that and the other?
Good question. Means it's in QuickBooks Online.
Okay.
It means that, yeah, funny that. It means that we've sent the data through to QuickBooks Online and AutoEntry is just giving you a message saying this data is already here.
Are you able to update it?
Update it in...
Like republish it and change it, or?
Yes, you can. You can absolutely unpublish. So you could choose to, and this this document here has been unpublished. That's why it's been great. This should actually be a solid green check mark.
Okay.
You can absolutely unpublish data from QuickBooks Online, or I mean within QuickBooks Online as well, you can manipulate the data should you choose to after publishing.
Okay.
So that's quick. It's a quick element of functionality. Again, there's a lot of similarities between the between capturing the purchases and the sales. It's just, as I see it, it's the opposite side of the ledger.
Right.
The final element of functionality that I want to bring your attention to is our expense reports capabilities. Expense reports, again, this is for, in my experience, everyone has one client that is doing expense reports manually, and there's lots of other solutions out there that solve this problem as well. But again, going back to what AutoEntry tries to be is, we don't want our users to have to learn 10 different apps to solve a particular set of challenges when it comes to data entry. Again, we drive and we want to be that Swiss Army knife, so you only have to learn one, your staff only have to learn one, your clients only have to learn one. So hence why we have the expense reports capture in there as well. So the process is much the same as all of the other functionality that we've seen, in as far as you can scan and upload expenses if you want, you can email expenses if you want, but for the most part, when we have businesses using this, and myself included in that, you're just using your smartphone. You're just taking a photo as you go about your day job, just snapping a photo of those employee expenses, and that data will just be uploaded into AutoEntry. So what happens from here? Well, AutoEntry, again, as you can imagine, we just capture all of the transactional data off the document. So we've got here the date, the vendor, the expense category, class, the amount, and the currency. By clicking on the AutoEntry eye, you can actually see it. So you can click on the AutoEntry eye here. Left-hand side is going to be the data. The right-hand side is going to be the original copy of the bill in this case, but it can just be a receipt. It doesn't really matter too much. And as you can see that here, this has been assigned to report. So this has been assigned to report with my colleague Lisa already. And what that means is for these two receipts that I just have in here, got this one here for the Celtic whiskey shop. When I move forward to the next stage of this, we're actually just going to be able to see the report. So we click on reports, so just move through them quite logically. We can see that we have a report here from Lisa. If we wanted to view the report, we can click into the report and actually view it. If we want to do that very quickly, This is just giving us the opportunity to just check and make sure that we're happy with everything before we move on. Once this stage has been completed, again, we're just going to follow the natural sort of progression of the page, if you will. Once that's been, we're happy with this report, or the staff member, I should say, is happy with the report, or the employee, just going to move forward to the review stage. And this is where someone else would typically get involved. Typically, the person that's going to have approving privileges within AutoEntry, if you will, is going to be maybe the finance director of the company, maybe it's going to be a manager, whoever it may be. And what they have the ability to do, they can see the report here, they're going to log into AutoEntry, see this notification, see the report. They've got a choice. They can reassign it and say, actually, this is over a certain amount, this is not for me, let someone else approve it. They can, of course, approve the report and say, yes, this is within policy, they're happy to approve it. Or they could perhaps reject it. They could say, hang on a second, the Celtic Whiskey Shop, $96 on entertaining. That looks a bit suspicious. They reject it, put a note in there, whatever they need to, say, hey, this is outside of scope. And then the employee or the person submitting the report can come back and approve it, resubmit it with the correct approval status for them. So once the report has been approved, what happens next? Well, what happens next is we're going to go over to our bills column here, back into the bills folder, the very first folder that I showed you. And what AutoEntry is going to have done is going to create an expense report in here with just AutoEntry Demo Expenses as the vendor name and the correct categorization. And then they can just approve it from here as a bill directly into their QuickBooks Online. So it's exactly the same. We treat it as a bill, and it follows the exact same procedure as you would approving any other bill into QuickBooks Online.
Nice.
So the final thing that I want to cover with you, two really quick things. Going back to what I said at the beginning, midway through this about customer success and making sure you guys are supported. This is kind of soft functionality, but I really think it's worth covering all the same, is that in the bottom right-hand corner here, we have a live chat feature within the app. I know people have seen these in lots of other apps now. They're quite common. Oftentimes they're serviced by robots, and everyone thinks these guys are robots. They're not. These are AutoEntry colleagues that are here to help. If you ever have any questions at all while using or navigating the app, feel free to pop in a chat at any time. The typical response time is a couple of minutes to get into chatting with an AutoEntry member of staff. So ever get any headaches using the app, by all means, let us know, give us a call, send us an email. But I think it's worth mentioning because it's, as we can see, my wonderful colleague William is just jumping in now to give us a hand. There we go. I promise you he's not a robot, guys.
Well, and that I think the big part of where you said usually replies within a couple of minutes versus we all have seen plenty of those. It says usually replies within 1 to 2 days or something.
This? Like, let's are you a robot? Yeah. There we go. Because I don't like those once you get back, those kind of mechanical responses that don't really answer your question, but answer it just enough to tick a box.
Right.
But these are trained AutoEntry members of staff. That really know their stuff. So, ever get any questions, we're always happy to help.
Awesome. So what about the
happy to
huge
take
amount of questions I have?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I do want to cover pricing really quickly, but we can absolutely do questions first. What do we think? There's probably a bank of questions there for me.
Oh my God, there's so many questions. Let's go through some of the questions.
Let's crack on with some questions. Yes. Okay.
What if the bill has already been paid in QBO? Will AutoEntry recognize that?
So if the bill has already been created in QuickBooks Online, you wouldn't need to push it through from AutoEntry.
True.
So what will happen is that would flag that there's a duplicate bill. You're trying to enter something that is exactly the same twice. So kind of sort of negates the point a little bit. AutoEntry, going back to what we're trying to do here, we want to be the driver of the creation of the transaction in QuickBooks Online. If it's already there, That's kind of our approach to
Right.
it. It's already there. If you
And
will.
then can you click over on the auto entry and show them, because
Yes.
they're, yeah, you have the rejected area. Isn't that also where the duplicates come in?
So what AutoEntry
Maybe.
will actually do if it's the principal reason for documents being rejected is mainly actually it's not a bill. You know, you wouldn't believe the staggering number of selfies that we get
Oh, yeah,
uploaded
yeah,
into,
yeah. That was it.
or like pictures of someone's cat or something quite odd. But if it's a duplicate, it'll actually be in the inbox. And I haven't got one to show you, but it will actually be denoted by a red triangle. A little
Okay.
red triangle saying, "Hey, this is duplicate. Please double check." And then you have the choice whether to reject that bill or not. We try to put the choice in as much as we can in your hands.
Awesome. Okay. And I know there was some confusion on how the information actually gets into auto entry. I know back on that other screen, there is an upload button. But like you were saying, also with the app, you can get information in there that way.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, fair point. The way we get data in, you know, just so to be totally clear, it is absolutely at the user's discretion, really however you want to. But the mechanism of how it happens is you scan in 50 bills, that's scanned into say one PDF file, and you just hit that button there, upload, and just upload it. Or you just download the AutoEntry app and just snap a photo as your client does that in many cases if you've got them working remotely. Or each AutoEntry account or company has a unique email address that you could submit data straight through to.
You want to give the explanation on handwritten receipts?
Oh, do I have to?
I said it's as good as how we would be able to read it.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah. So how I look at it is if it's chicken scrawl handwriting and you're kind of squinting to make it out by eye, OCR and artificial intelligence technology is going to struggle as well. Yeah. The human eye is in many cases going to be better than what a piece of technology can do. So yeah, if you're struggling, it's going to struggle. If it's pretty neat, if it's block capitals, you know, even better. You can absolutely upload it. The worst thing that's going to happen is it's just going to get rejected. And if it is rejected, all that's going to happen is you can move it to the inbox, you can type in the information yourself manually, and you can just submit it through to QuickBooks Online as if it was any other bill.
Yeah. And then on bank statements, can you import like CSV files into the bank statement area?
No.
Yeah,
and we get that question asked quite a lot. So in terms of AutoEntry, the way we need to think of it is that we create the upload file. Yeah, we create the CSV. We create the upload file. So it's PDF or JPEG or TIFF or any image file of paper bank statements or digitally downloaded bank statements from any credit union, credit card, or bank in the country we can deal with.
Okay. And then don't I remember somewhere like in the bank statements, there was like an auto code or almost kind of having like the bank feed in auto entry.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, you're absolutely right. You do have the ability to fast code transactions
That
directly
was
into
what it
QuickBooks.
was.
Yes, absolutely. And I should have, I wish the person asking that question had called me out earlier. But you can absolutely code the data from within here. As we can see, this is just the bank statement. We've got our date, our details, our pay customer category. We've got our payments, receipts, etc., location, class, and type of transaction it was. And you can just code this data and send it straight through into QuickBooks Online.
Are we able to change the date on there?
No, you're not.
No? Okay.
No.
And then also on the details, are you able to edit those?
No. Sorry. Yes. Sorry.
Yes.
I thought we were still talking about dates. Yes, absolutely. You can, and we see that quite often because a lot of people say, I don't really want, some of the transactions on bank statements have a bit of bank nonsense after them. Yeah, it might be like, I don't know, gym membership, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it'll be like it'd be like a barcode after it almost. But yeah, you can absolutely come and edit it. That's fine.
Okay, so I was going through a whole bunch of them. Someone asked if there's a way to get like Squarespace and Etsy transactions into AutoEntry.
Um, I'd have to have a look at it. It depends because I know there's different transactions that Squarespace and Etsy create.
Right.
If you've got it in some type of like file format, so whether it's like a file that you've downloaded and it's like bills or sales invoices or that kind of stuff, if that is the case, then we can certainly work with that. You can certainly try that for sure. If you're talking about some sort of API integration whereby AutoEntry would directly connect with Squarespace and Etsy and pull transactions, then no, we don't do that at this moment in time.
But with what you're talking about, maybe with email confirmations or something like that, you can send them, have them auto emailed into AutoEntry.
Yeah, if you're getting a bill or some type of
Right.
transactional documents for
Or like
sure.
every time I get a sale off of Stripe, I get a confirmation email. So, it's the same kind of setup
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. Certainly possible. We
It
can
all
do things.
depends.
It does depend a little bit, and I don't want to be wishy-washy, but
No.
I don't want to overpromise either. Yeah, certainly something we can have a look at.
Well, and I see it as like what you're saying, that if a system's already giving you a CSV or something like that, that's one thing that, that's not what this is about. But if it is in a format that you can't get into something,
Yeah.
then that's what this does, is it kind of can take all of that and make it into a good format to be able to get in to the system.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's just a matter of, is the format like bank statements? You guys can do that. It's a question of what those other formats and
It is
the
absolutely.
layouts and stuff are.
It is exactly. Yeah, it is. And when we're talking about clients and document types and all that kind of stuff, there is a bit of gray in this. There really is. So that's why in some cases we just want to double check to make sure that we can deliver what we say we're delivering for our clients.
Absolutely. And I think you can go into pricing because it also kind of ties into what's the difference between AutoEntry and Receipt Bank.
Yes, absolutely. Good. And so with AutoEntry's pricing, we work on a credit model. And the idea behind the credit model is we want to charge for value. Yeah, we want to charge for the value that you're going to get from our product. So as a standard, we have 4 different packages: bronze, silver, gold, or platinum. The bronze, we work on our credit model. So the bronze is 50, 100, 200, 500. So what do credits mean is the first question I get asked. Well,
right.
Credits are 3 things. Yeah. 1 credit is 1 bill. So 1 bill, receipt, sales invoice, 1 credit. 2 credits is a bill with line items. So if we have line items on the document and you want those captured, it can be 1 line item, it can be 10 line items. It's 2 credits. And 3 credits is a bank statement. So if you're uploading 10 pages of bank statements, that's going to be 30 AutoEntry credits. So in as far as the packages, most of our accounting professionals we work with will opt for the gold or platinum package for $44 or for $98 respectively. And they will just use as many credits as they want for their clients. There is no subscription, so the credits it's just a monthly rolling subscription. If you use over your credit allocation, all that happens is you just get charged at a pro rata basis for whatever you use. And if you under your credit, so let's say for the platinum package, you have 500 credits and you actually use 390, whatever is left on the package will just roll over into next month. And what this allows users to do is allows users to adjust for seasonality as well, because you can upgrade and downgrade as you see fit. And we all know in the US that typically silly season that I've found anyway, January, February to April, silly season. Usage might spike up then, but it might die down when all of the businesses and accountants go on holiday after tax season.
Yeah, which is now extended to July.
Yes, absolutely. The new normal, as I'm hearing it being said. But in the second week of July, when all of you guys go on holiday and you don't need to use AutoEntry as much, you can just adjust. So, that's the philosophy behind our pricing, and it's really popular with a lot of accountants that we talk to.
And it's for all it's not a plan per client or anything. It's for everything, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we don't. Yeah, because sounds like it gets a little bit messy, because some of the clients use AutoEntry would be regular bookkeeping clients that need to automate their AP, automating their bills. But some clients, on the other hand, they might just have some clients that use AutoEntry just for bank statement capture. And we wouldn't feel it's responsible to be charging you for 12 months for that client for bank statement capture when you only use it maybe once or twice a year. Right. So we want to make sure it's as fair as possible for our clients.
And you're not an expert on Receipt Bank, but last I heard or understood, it is more a subscription per client that they have.
Yes. I mean, I absolutely don't want to.
I think.
I don't want to talk of Receipt Bank. I have friends that work at Receipt Bank. Great bunch of people. But as I understand it, there's a few different pricing structures they have, and I think they've changed it a few times. So it's not 100% clear to me where it stands at this moment in time. The last that I saw was relatively recently, and I think it was just a package subscription for the accounting practice itself, I believe. Right. But
and it goes back to everyone doing their research, and like I said before, that finding the app that is going to cover as much as what you need in your situation. And you guys have given a complete understanding of all the different areas that you're covering and what you can help with. I mean, getting data into QBO.
That's it. And we try to keep it as simple as possible. We try to keep the solution as simple as possible. We try to keep the functionality as broad as possible, because even us, running AutoEntry as a business, it's tricky when you have to have people that use one piece of software for this, and then another piece of software for this, and another piece of software, and people do get app fatigue very, very quickly. And that's what we've tried to combat. Use one thing, get everything sorted for all your clients, and everyone's happy.
And one last thing to clarify for Carol, she is asking, on every receipt that's loaded with line items, she heard 3 credits, but I thought I heard 2 credits.
Yeah, so every bill that gets uploaded with line items captured, it is not a credit per line item. You have a bill that has 1 line item, or you have a bill that has 10 line items, or 20. It's going to be 2 AutoEntry credits. That never changes.
Okay, awesome.
Excellent.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. Like I said, everyone's contact information has been shared with Tom and his team, so I believe they will be reaching out. I know several people said that they wanted to get in touch and get more information, so that's awesome.
Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic.
And I will have this recording up on the website probably tomorrow, but
maybe you can cut out my brief interlude.
No, I was talking. It's good.
Me freezing randomly and then crashing. So, is that not like a metaphor for 2020? That's what kind of happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that's it. But Kathy, thank you for inviting us. I've really enjoyed chatting to you all. And like you said, anyone needs anything from me, from my team, let us know, and we'll absolutely take you through a more personalized version of what we've seen today, and just have a chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tom, and everyone have a great day.
All right, see you later, everyone.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.